So
What was it like then when you didn't see a future for yourself? What was your life like? What were you doing? Like how was you living? What made you think that?
I mean, I was selling drugs, running the streets, chilling in bars every night. You know what I mean? Doing the most, um, being disrespectful, just a lot of your typical adolescent in the street behavior.
My whole purpose to have this channel is to have an impact on people in a way that will help them develop, to grow a better relationship with God, to get a different perspective about God, life, situations. I want people to be able to watch my channel and hear other people's stories and learn from it. What makes you different? What sets you apart from the other ones?
From what I've have gathered, being around a lot of other people that have been in my situation and still are in the same situation, is that I would say the difference between me and them is learning from your mistakes instead of doing the same things and expecting the same result.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's Nefertiti, and I'm back with another video. So I know it's been a long time, but I told y'all I was trying to do something different, and we are doing an interview. We have a special guest here. He goes by the name of Rayko. He's an artist, and he's going to be telling us his story. You know, I wanted to get people on here just talking about their story, their life. There's something y'all can learn from, something y'all can take from, instead of just hearing me talk all the time. So we're going to get into it, and he's going to tell us who he is and what he's about. And hopefully, you know, y'all make sure y'all follow him. I'll put his social media on here. All right, so Rayko. So
What's up?
go ahead.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? How you doing?
Same old, same old.
Okay.
Another day.
Another day, another dollar.
Yeah, yeah.
I like your background.
Thank you very much.
That's
That's what
hard.
I am, a dragon.
I know that's right. So I was about to ask you. So what does your name mean? What's Rayko? Where'd that come from?
I mean, I grew up drawn pretty
Okay.
much super early in my life. And I always had a love for Mortal Kombat. And I found myself going down this road one time of creating a character and drawing it up with all his combos and fatalities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I sent it to the game developer at the time. I think it was called Midway. And they looked at my letter and my transcripts and drawings of my character, and they wrote me back saying that they loved the character, but they already had developed the game.
Wow.
So the next year, without them even saying anything to me, they so-called took my so-called character, and the name of the character was named Rayko. And
Wow.
I remember that since I was a kid. I mean, I'm not mad about it now, you know what I mean? It is what it is, but I'm still honored that even as a young child, I was making a mark for myself.
That's what's up, but that just goes to show you how talented you are, even at that age, for them to take your idea, you know? But I bet it taught you something too, like early, like, you know, you're gonna have to put a print on your stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you live, you learn. You know what I'm saying? That's what life's about.
So how old were you when you started to like draw, when you started to do art?
What inspired me
Yeah.
um, I think it was in first grade, maybe even a little bit before that. My uncle was a amazing artist. I used to look at his stuff and just used to think like, dang, I need to do that like for myself. But then there was this little kid I still remember to this day, around first grade, whenever we went to school and we sat down at the breakfast table, there was this kid named Alex. He was this black kid, he had these thick, like nerdy glasses on, and he was always over there sitting by himself, like in his papers and stuff, and like with his pencils or whatever. And I was kind of curious. So I walked over and sat down, and it was history after that. He was sitting there drawing, which is my favorite comic book character today, Spawn.
Okay. So that's what inspired you from there out?
Yeah, yeah, his drawings inspired me too. And I used to ask to borrow his drawings. So I started off tracing,
Yeah.
but then I got better and better, and it was up from there.
So do you just draw or do you paint too?
I mean, my heart's drawing like with pencil and paper, but I haven't been drawing with pencil and paper for years. I'm a tattoo artist now, so that's how I, you know what I mean, release some of the stuff that I need to release is when I'm tattooing.
All right, let me ask you something about that. So when you tattoo, do you ever like free game? Do you ever just do like does anyone ever come to you and say, "Hey, I just want you just to freestyle"?
I mean, as a tattoo artist and how I came up, I don't really like. I mean, I've have freestyled on people, but I mean, it's just way better to do it by how it's supposed to be done with a stencil. That way, you can make sure everything is, especially like with memorial pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You don't want to leave no room for error.
that's what's up. Yeah, that's. I was out. I came to your shop. Was it
Yeah,
before I came to Georgia?
yeah.
Yep.
I remember. I was
No,
in Pittsburgh.
yeah. Now let me tell you something because I only have three tattoos, but the one that I have from your shop, I didn't have no issues. Like the other tattoos, like I had like bumps or whatever, the healing process. But yours
Yeah.
was the only one where it was just like I didn't have to go through nothing. I was cool. I was like,
I'm
okay.
in I've been tattooing for 14 years. I like to think that I know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, well, you're like a legend now, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
I want to okay, so I want to start with some things that you've been through like as a child growing up, but I want to talk about Hawaii. We want to
Uh,
get about you being there, So I wanted to say, like, what was it like? What was your childhood like? I know we talked about this before, but what was it like for you growing up?
um, confusing,
Okay.
stre- stressful, hurtful. I mean, it's not all bad, but I mean, I've had some beautiful moments in my early years that I can sit here now and appreciate.
Okay.
But I mean, it wasn't the worst at all either. Um, it was just a lot of heartstrings being pulled, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that anything you want to talk about, or would you rather not?
I mean, I don't want to really get in depth of it. I
Okay.
mean, it ultimately makes me the man who I am today. But I grew up playing football,
Yeah.
drawing. I was a smart kid. I wasn't dumb. I never failed any classes or anything like that.
Okay.
Um, I've won championships in football. Um, could have went to Virginia Tech or Florida State in the times that I was in Glen Mills locked up playing football.
Yeah.
Um, but I came back home because my mother at the time was going through a lot of things personally, and I just felt like me pursuing my dreams and aspirations at that moment would have been super selfish.
Okay.
And I felt like I needed to help my mom, especially mentally, because what she had went through. Um, so
So you kind of put like you what you wanted to do on the back burner so that you can be there for your mom.
yeah, yeah,
That
exactly.
sounds a lot about your character. So did you want to like be a football player? Is that what you wanted to do?
Me, yeah, I had all the tools and all the skills and all the attributes to do so.
Yeah.
Uh, when I was when I was in Glen Mills, I was averaging like 18 solo tackles a game.
Wow.
And I could have been like, if I would have stayed the last year that I was there throughout the whole year, because our defense was unscored on, and we held the first 4 games, we held offenses to average about like 50 yards a game.
Oh,
So we had amazing defense, like super amazing. And I could have, like I said, I could have went and took out at the time I thought would be the easy way out.
yeah.
But I don't know, it's just something about me. I just like taking the more difficult way.
But sometimes the more difficult ways would build you, you know?
Yeah, and I think I kind of knew that going into a lot of the things that I went into.
Yeah.
I didn't see any outcome a lot of times, and I didn't know where I was headed. But good or bad, I was going to take it on the chin and take what I needed from it.
So let me ask you, do you feel like out of the people you hung out with when you were younger or growing up, you always had like a conscience? Like you always in the back of your mind knew right from wrong, you know? Like you were one of them people that you might have been around people who did certain things, but you always knew like, okay, if I get into this, I know what I'm getting into. Or were you somebody that was easily influenced?
It depended on if I cared about you or not.
Okay.
Um, a lot of what I thought were friends back then were really not, and were just trying to take advantage of me. So I had to learn a lot of hard ways in that aspect to protect myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it be like that. But that's how you learn though. You know what I mean? If nobody ever crosses you, you don't know what to expect from the next person that's gonna cross you. So it's like
Right,
that type of stuff is necessary. I mean, even though you don't want it to happen, but it's necessary too, so you know how to go about it.
right. And also, I mean, when those stuff like that happens, people get stuck on how it feels the most,
Mm,
and they get stuck and go into like a never-ending vortex of emotion that you can't control because you can't control people.
right.
You feel what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot of things. I mean, trial and error, repetition is the father of learning. That's what I've been taught.
Mm-hmm. That's literally that's life. But you're gonna have times where you fall. You're gonna have times where you rise. But it's like,
Yeah,
what do you learn from that? And you've been through some things though. You have been through
yeah.
some stuff where you've been through a lot of trial and error, and to get to where you're at now. How young are you?
I'm 38
Yeah,
right
so
now.
you've been through a lot. By the time,
Yeah. I mean, I want to thank God for the most part that I've made it this far.
yeah,
I mean, times and going through a lot of those things where I didn't see a future for myself. You know what I mean?
yeah. So
So
what was it like then when you didn't see a future for yourself? What was your life like? What were you doing? Like how was you living? What made you think that?
I mean, I was selling drugs, running the streets, chilling in bars every night. You know what I mean? Doing the most, um, being disrespectful, just a lot of your typical adolescent in the street behavior.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What makes you different? What sets you apart from the other ones?
From what I've have gathered, being around a lot of other people that have been in my situation and still are in the same situation, is that I would say the difference between me and them is learning from your mistakes instead of doing the same things and expecting the same result.
That's real.
Um, that's real. I mean, I know a couple people now, even, I mean, people that I've grown up with
Yeah,
um, are still locked up and incarcerated because they don't see another way to maneuver in life.
yeah,
You know, they're so used to one singular way, and they think that that's all that they have.
yeah.
But really, you know what I mean? You just gotta assert yourself, man. Like it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to manifest something.
Yeah. There you go. Hold on. Let's stop right there because this generation or this time that we're in, everybody wants to talk about manifesting. But you do know that in order to manifest, there's work behind it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
talk
know.
talk about that a
I've
little bit. Like,
got the power of manifestation. I can literally. I've done it before. I've seen it. I've seen myself do it before.
so what's
And
that like? So for the people that are big on manifestation, and some people think that manifesting is just like you just sit there and you talk about it, it comes to you. Like what does it really mean?
when I first started going down that type of road, was I was locked up in county jail. I forget what year it was, young years. And there's this guy that was locked up there. His name was O, and he was from the Hill, and his little brothers were part of like the Scorching Hot crew and stuff like that. So he gravitated towards me a lot, and he like looked at me like I was one of his young boys and stuff. And I'll never forget. He pulled me to the side one day. We were locked up. Pulled me to the side. I was like, "Yo, bro." He's like, "Man, I like you.
Yeah.
You're a good young dude. You seem like you got a head on your shoulders, and I want to tell you something." And he sat me down. And he was like, "So in the world, there's an astro plane. Say like you're down here, and the astro plane's up here, and that barrier in between is your thoughts going through that barrier into the astral plane, and then it's conjuring up whatever you want in there, and then it sprinkles down into reality."
Mm.
That's what he told me. And he was like, "Yo, man, whatever, stop." He was like, "Whatever negative thoughts, whatever negative feelings that you have, don't think them, don't feel them. I mean, feel them, but let them dissipate, because it's very important in what we are talking about, which is manifestation."
Yeah. And but would you say that what kind of work do you have to do to for it to come to pass? Because you can manifest, but
You
you
gotta
also
believe. You gotta believe in yourself. And whenever you put that stuff up there and you put those manifestation seeds up there, you know what I mean? You gotta believe that they're going to sprout
yeah.
wholeheartedly. Whatever happens in life.
Right, right. Because it's what you put in is what you get out, and you also have to put some work in. So, if I'm gonna be a basketball player, I gotta practice, right? I gotta put that work in that nobody else is gonna put in, and whatever goal I have, I'll get there. But I have to still do the work, and so that's why I wanted to. I'm glad you emphasized on that because I think we talk about it a lot, but we don't realize that we do have actions that we have to put forth to see the results. You know.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, I did want to ask you something, but I lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, I do have. Okay, so what is some advice that you would give like a teenager or a young kid who's like running the streets, who thinks it's cool, who thinks this is what they want to do? Like, what's some good advice you can give them that like help them see that they're more than just, what they're around?
I mean, everybody's story is different. I
Yeah,
mean, you just gotta look into yourself and kind of feel around, and
yeah,
then once you put your finger on it or your hand or whatever, as soon as you touch it, you know. Because I knew whenever I was sitting in prison, before I even started tattooing and wanted to change my life, I sat down and I did exactly what I just said. Is just look within myself,
yeah.
and the only thing that really kept hold was my artistry. Like
Hmm.
I loved at that moment. I still loved it, and I wasn't doing enough of it. And I just made up my mind up then, and then I stuck with that decision until I started to see fruits.
Mm. And when he says fruits, y'all, he's talking about all the work you put in, he's starting to see the results from it. That's what he means. Um,
Yeah, plant seeds, man.
yeah, because you know what? But you took something that you had, and so even for the younger people that are watching who like think that being in the streets is like, that's it. But it's not it because
Right.
everyone has a gift. Everyone has something they can use to get out of what you're in, so you use your gift of art. But did you want to talk a little bit about prison or how where that started or how that, did you want to go into that?
I mean, just bad decisions,
Yeah.
selling drugs. Um, it was right happened right before. Well, I mean, been in and out of county jail way before all this stuff, multiple
Yeah.
times. Just doing stupid stuff, not paying fines, and
Oh,
it
okay.
was a couple. There was a couple other drug charges, stuff like that. But the last one was, I mean, my last sale because it was right before my son was being born, and I decided to stop hustling because I wanted to be there. I knew the road I was heading down wasn't going to include him in my future.
Mm.
So I quit in my last sale. They got me a year later on a outstanding warrant or whatever it's called, criminal warrant. And then after that, went to prison for 3 years.
Wow. Man, you're a trooper. You're a trooper.
Yeah, at the time going through it, it doesn't really feel like a trooper
Yeah.
because, like,
Yeah.
it's like because you got your flesh asking why you're going through this, but you really know what your spirit really knows what the outcome of a lot of the things that you're going through can bring. So it's a lot of torn between both sides going through it all.
Like at the in the while you're in it, yeah, while you're going through it. So when you was in prison, what's it like for people who don't even have an idea of what being in prison is like? What's it like? What was like a day-to-day thing for y'all?
I mean, for me, it wasn't an experience like it is like it would be portrayed in a movie or something. Like
Yeah.
everybody's being crazy. I mean, I've seen dudes with breasts before, but that's it. Like, I mean, I didn't really see any type of situations where, I mean, there was a lot of like crazy stuff going on. I ain't see nobody get killed or nothing like that. Seen people get beat up pretty bad. But ultimately, I was only in state prison for, I would say, about a year and a half because they counted all my time from county before I even
Okay.
got there. So I was blessed for that. And I was on the transition side of the prison where people are getting put on the other side with like a lot of the lifers and stuff like that. So
But
I was pretty fortunate.
but isn't prison okay? So, but when y'all are in prison or in jail, isn't everything like controlled? Like you have to eat at a certain time. You can't.
Yeah, yeah.
You get a certain amount of time out. That's what I mean. Like, so what's it? Was it? Did it feel like? I don't know. Did
You
you
just
feel?
don't have any control when
Yeah.
you're in jail. When you go to jail, you just pretty much just let go because there's really nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're just stuck in a situation. You just got to take it on the chin or let it get the best of you. And I just, I mean, did what I had to do, did my classes,
Yeah.
and got out of Dodge, man, because I knew I had better things to do with myself, and I knew that was going to be the last time.
I know that's right, and it was too. So, what's your goals now? Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years as far as tattooing goes and everything you got going on?
Right now I'm just, I mean, putting a lot of trust and faith in God
Yeah.
to lead me to where I'm supposed to go.
Okay.
The only really goal I have right now, and once I reach that goal, um, everything else, all my other sub goals will fall into place.
Okay. Right.
Um, I'm
Okay.
just, yeah, I'm uh, just trying to figure out my life purpose.
Yeah.
That's my that's my main thing right now. I've been through a lot, and I think me went going through a lot of these things, like I said, builds a lot of character and heart. And I think I got the biggest heart that I've ever witnessed, to be
Wow.
honest.
That's what's up. So, what makes you say that? So, how do you know you have a big heart? Is it because you help people? Is it because of how you move?
Because like going through all those things, man, like I like to say that a lot of people couldn't go through a lot of the things that I've went through and survived it, only
Yeah.
because it was a lot of mental damage. You know what I mean? And I still processed it in an intelligent way
Yeah.
instead of a destructive way. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, 'cause people can interpret a lot of things they go through uh, destructively, and in turn act destructively.
Yes. 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 That is true. So many people, and I want to talk about that a little bit because where we come from, a lot of people do go through that and they act destructively, but sometimes that's all they know.
Right.
And they don't know to like they could take something else and make it they could take the bad things and turn it into something good. Like I was telling you before when we were on the phone, I said when you go to a pottery class, you're molding the pot and you throwing the scraps to the side, but eventually you pick the scraps back up and put it back in the pot and make it a part of the pot. So people don't realize like yeah, you can take the bad things and turn that something into something good. So I feel like that's where they get stuck at. Like you said before, if you don't do nothing different, you're not gonna get nothing different. So
That's why I say, you know what I mean, I got the biggest heart because even through all that stuff, I
yeah,
didn't go down a dark road. I still stayed on the lightest path, and I'm still doing it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? For what else? Glory to God for real, because I mean, if it wasn't for him, man, I wouldn't be here. And
yeah.
that's truth, man. And people can call it a religious move or whatever, but that's just how I feel, and that's how I feel because of what I've witnessed going through this thing called life.
And you know that God, it was only God that helped you through it. You knew that because what you went through, it's like there ain't no way that you can get through this without Him. And you were saying you have lots of stories, but can you share some things about us, no, with us, about some things you went through to know that God's real or you knew God was with you at that moment?
I mean, we mentioned Hawaii, since you
Yes,
want to
let's
bring
talk
it.
about Hawaii. Yes.
Um, I, last year, I'm gonna start by talking about. I had this tattoo shop called, which was my own shop that I own. It's called Mach 7 Tattoo, and it was in Pittsburgh. And that's the no, you was at the one Calavera, but longer down the line, I ended up opening up another shop called Mach 7 Tattoo,
Okay.
and pretty much everything was going good, but just a group of people that I had underneath me just wasn't the best people.
Yeah.
Um, they stabbed me in the back, did a lot of slimy stuff, a lot of things that I felt like I didn't deserve, um, and crucified me pretty much on the internet.
Mm,
Um, and nothing ever happened about it. People were still coming to see me, which I already knew because people know the truth, and especially being around me, truth would come out anyway. So
yeah.
I end up losing everybody there. Everybody, after everybody stabbed me in the back, and then I had an apartment next to my shop, connected to the shop. I end up losing the shop, and losing my apartment. Was just in a very very hard spot, and uh, my first apprentice that I had in my first shop called Bully Inc. His name was Roberto, and he had moved down Hawaii uh, about 3 years prior. So we kept in contact, and I called him after all this stuff happened, and I'm like, bro, like like I need a different scene. Like I want to get out of Pennsylvania. I feel like this place is holding me back. It's just one of those things where I was just very, very adamant about leaving.